Baby, 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 don't you ain't no one gonna pay me from my baby. Like I can give my heart and all my time. Gotta keep my love and all your mind. Oh, you got me going so far and deep.
I would have to say my children, because I always find reason to be better now that they're there. You know, you can do something so simple and then you see them do it exactly like you did and you like, oh, I don't need you to do everything I do, you understand? Do as I say, not as I do. But in reality, that's not typically what happens. They do what they see. And if I didn't want to perpetuate anything negative or have them feel ashamed of maybe things I've done, said, saying, then I have to do what's right now.
Right.
So they inspire me to just always push myself and always be my absolute best. And then I was always inspired when it came to music, musically. Whitney Elizabeth Houston is one of my greatest inspirations. I mean, a legendary vocalist, but just an amazing human being. No matter what was happening in her life, she never gave an excuse as to why she couldn't be there when something was happening with me. And I think that allowed me to learn and live and avoid a lot of the things that could come with what my job kind of offers.
Sure.
You know, because there's good and bad in pretty much every occupation, but in mine, things can come so easily to you that are just not good for you.
Sure.
And she taught me a lot about those things, and I avoided so many pitfalls because she was there for me and she was honest always.
Right.
And that helped me in a way that has changed my life and the course and path of my career over the time, because when I was signed, I was only 12.
Right.
So now at 35, when I look back, I don't have to look back and hang my head. I'm proud of everything that's a part of the road that I paid for myself and my family, because we didn't grow up knowing anything about the music business or entertainment at all.
Right.
So she was a huge, huge part and a huge inspiration in my life.
What about you, Jurnee?
You know, I would definitely have to say my mom is one of the strongest black women you'll ever meet. She raised 6 kids, y'all, and I joke with Monica about this because she did all 6 natural childbirths. She set the bar real high, Lord. But you know, growing up, my mom would tell me these stories about my grandmother. And I never got the chance to meet my grandmother. She passed away when my eldest brother was still in my mom's womb. But we would hear these stories, and there was this picture in our house, wherever we lived, above the fireplace. The only picture we have of my grandmother. Big smile, big cheeks. I know I get these cheeks from her. And, you know, she worked cleaning homes in New Orleans. She cleaned the homes of, specifically, this one white family in New Orleans. And my mom would tell these stories about her going to work really early and coming home late. Oftentimes not being able to cook them dinner or not cleaning the house for them. You know, she had to do that for other people. And my mom on the weekends sometimes would go with her to the house, and she would just watch how they treated her, and they you know, didn't treat her very well, neglected her, and just would leave stuff out just for her to clean. And that stays with me as motivation. That stays with me as fuel in what I do. I don't know where she is. I hope she can see me, but it definitely fuels me to try to make her proud.
I have a follow-up question for you, Monica. How do you feel as a mother, even though you are in a privileged position, but raising a young black man now?
Well, I mean, it is definitely very different than when I grew up. Just like my daughter, I was the only girl. And with 3 boys that are constantly watching and looking and listening and learning, I just teach them a lot about their worth, so that they understand that they can have and they can be and they can create and they can dream and that they can achieve.
Right.
And I try to make sure that they understand how dangerous following is.
Right.
That's something that we talk a lot about because they're young. They're 10, 8, 1 is 7. Following, when most of these people that you may be following have no clue where they're even going,
right,
is just a path of destruction. So we talk about being leaders. I learn about their individuality so that I can help them find ways to be who they want to be, because we didn't have those options, but we always had that encouragement.
Sure.
You know, my family's from Noonan, Georgia.
Right.
And my dad dropped out 8th grade to work. My mom worked her way up at Delta Airlines after about 35 years and just decided, I want to
So did
come
my dad.
to you. Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I always tell people, like when I'm on the plane now, I get people like, I was at your baby shower in 1980. Yes, it's a very interesting dynamic.
Yes.
And you know, but I saw hard work, but I also was encouraged to be me. And I didn't know that me being me would end up creating the type of life that it's created for me, but that's all I ever did. I made music for the people. I made music because I loved it, and I always made music with a purpose, whether it was songs like First Night, talking to young women about don't give away something that you can't ever get back. Give away something that's more precious than anything else. You know, so but I was 16 when I made the song, and then it just continued that way. So I just try to lay that foundation for them. And I also keep them aware. Some people may think the things I talk about with my kids, they're too young to hear, but when it's too late, it's too late. You can't go back and undo it. So when you got one son in the 6th grade, that's middle school. So we're talking about how important it is to abstain and understand that there's certain parts of you that should only be cherished and appreciated with one person. And why I explain that when music may tell them something different. Sure. We talk about drugs a lot because it's sensationalized along with a lot of the other things that are plaguing our communities and just tearing our kids down. Sure. So I don't think it's ever too soon, I just think it can be too late. And we have these open conversations just like we're all having right now. And my children can tell you what it is that they want to be, or at least what they think they want to be right now. Right. And different ways to work towards it. When he said he wanted to be a part of animation and film, we went to a college that was studying it, and I let him see what it really takes and how hard people work to create the things they see on television. So whatever it is, you have to push your children towards greatness. Too often we don't encourage them, and we think that the things that they're thinking of are impossible. But I'm living proof that you can come from nothing and create so much more for yourself. And so me being an example in the house and outside of it, I just keep encouraging them. And I teach them about racism. Yes. Because it still exists, no matter who your mom and daddy is. Exactly. You have to acknowledge it. So we talk about everything. We talk about everything.
No, good for you though, because that's honestly the same way my mom was. Like, my mom would talk about, she would talk about sex openly. And sometimes we didn't want to hear it. We'd be like, Mommy, stop, you nasty, I don't want to stop. But honestly, she took the mystery out of it, you know, and she made it where she told us the same thing. You need to wait until marriage and stuff like that. And she really took that mystery away. So I think I've definitely benefited from that very philosophy. And being in this industry, you know, she would point out the temptations before they would come. I would go to a party and she would be like, you know, so-and-so might offer you a drink. and I would get there and they would do it. and it was already in my head. She had already had that dialogue. I say bravo to you for doing that, because I mean, I definitely am grateful that my mom did that, because it saved me from a lot of the pitfalls that my peers fell into.
This is some really good advice, y'all.